Welcome back. Thanks for joining me again. This is another installment episode of Unsolicited Advice, where I pretend that a fellow content creator has asked me to take a look at their game. And okay, full disclosure, they haven't asked, and they're probably not interested. And I will take a look at this game with the thought of what I would suggest, again, pretending like they really want to know what I suggest, to improve the game from my perspective. Now, you have to know where I'm coming from. My perspective is that the more we can role play in a role-playing game, the better, including in combat, including in social interactions between player characters. It should all be role-played. Combat, yes, I want to see role-play in combat. What do I mean by role-play? What I mean is I want you to be in character, both in combat and out, as much as you can. I advocate for high trust games where the mechanics that are, of course, there, you have to have the mechanics of the game in order for it to function well. They're understood by all parties, and they can be in the background, not erased from the game, just in the background. So we're going to be looking at a game here from Esper the Bard. Esper the Bard has a large channel, 123,000 subscribers. He recently put out a video, and I don't know, Esper, if you'll ever see this, but if you do see this, I hope that you will continue to post your games. There's a lot of excellent things we can learn from Esper's games. For example, he does a really good job of communicating information. Instead of just doing exposition dumps, he uses NPCs. And he speaks as the NPC. And Esper's, your voice work is phenomenal. I'm not a voices guy. I'd love to be a voices guy, maybe eventually. But Esper, he can do some things, and he shows us he flexes some of his skills here in this session we're going to watch. The session's about 11 months old. But I was going to just say, he does some things that are incredibly difficult to do, and he makes it look easy. So if you're like me and you're not great with voices, this guy is going to be a little intimidating because he's so good at it. So Esper, I hope you'll continue to show us your games. This is a game that is quite clearly not produced to be entertainment, and it feels authentic. And the players, I'll do a brief intro, just really brief on who the players are. And just a couple of my observations. I've watched this session over a few times. It's a fairly lengthy session, but and I've sped it up a little bit for the replay here. That's not a criticism. I don't mind a little slower game. I'm learning to enjoy those because I have some players that like to have more of a slow burn. That's fine. It's more just so that I don't have a monstrously long video response. So let's get right into it. Esper the Bard. Yeah, as I just mentioned that, I'm a little scatterbrained, but what Esper's video, he was lamenting that his favorite race has been removed from the most modern edition of name brand Dungeons and Dragons, and I believe it was the half elf. And so my understanding is that that's no longer a pick, or maybe it is a pick, or whatever. He was lamenting the fact that he was looking through the latest edition, and he tried to find his favorite, and it wasn't there. So he seemed a little crestfallen about it. He was talking about maybe some of his other interests that he's going to pursue more. But please keep posting your games when you can. There's just a lot of good things that people can learn here. So let's go right to Esper the Bard. I'll just do a very brief who's who. So we've got Esper up here. You can see my cursor up in the top left. Underneath Esper is Adam. Underneath Adam is Michelle. Absent right now, but will be returning here in just a few minutes, is Bob playing Emmett. And here we have CJ on the far right bottom, so just above my head. All these players can play in character, and when they do it, it works really well. Michelle is exceptionally well at it. Good at it, I should say. She does really well. Of her default is, when I'm speaking as my character, and that's a great habit to have. There's a few other things I'll point out as we go, but a much different session than the others that I've looked at so far. Let's take a look.
No, why not? All right.
Creeping out, hugging the wall, taking advantage of any shadows, you know?
It's pretty well lit. There's not really much in terms of shadows. Here and there might be a bit, and here and there there'll be like a little statue alcove or some protrusion. But by and large, it is designed so that the guards can keep an eye on things. Okay, so you step out into the corridor, those of you, and if you can see here to the west, this guardsman.
So this is Esper. You're giving some narration here. That's fine. I would be careful about narrating the movement of the characters, because I want the players to always be thinking about that. They have a responsibility to move their characters in the world. Now, I know you're repeating what I think one of them has said. The others haven't really said that they're moving, so I'd prefer to hear that from everyone, even if it's just really quick turn. All right, let's talk a little bit. We're gonna watch this a little bit, and Esper, you give a cue for a pacing change, and I'm not sure that the players picked up on it.
You see him. He sees you all. Quick thinking. What do you do?
So, Esper, your cue here is the expression "quick thinking," and I think I don't have any issue with that. I think it's clear. Perhaps what would have helped here is explaining the expectation to the players that when I say quick thinking, just as it implies, I want quick turns. Like, this is fast. It's right now. I want immediate go, because there's the guard, as he just explained. There's a guard there, and they've decided they're going to sneak. Bob was not really in that discussion, so he does something else. But that's only because it's not a criticism of you, Bob. That's just because you had to step away for a moment, so you didn't hear the planning that happened between Henderson, Hakeem, and Dorothy, which is Dorothy with a little apostrophe in it there. So that happens, whatever, not a big deal. But did they get the message? That's my point. If you want a pacing change, I don't see anything wrong with what you've done there, Esper. That's great. Quick, what is it? I think another way of handling that is just to describe the guard, shocked, wide eyes, startled, scrambles for a horn hanging from his neck, grabs the horn, and then pause, waiting for the players to jump in. There's not a lot of time. He sees the guard is reacting to you in the hallway. I want players to be proactive, to be right. I got to be doing something here. Let's hear how this goes.
Well, he sees us. We can't sneak up anymore.
No.
Then charge as fast as we can. Wipe him up.
So that was Adam. You started with an out of character question. I would just go right with what you said after. Hakeem charges. I charge. Charge where? Charge at them. I run at him.
14 set an alarm. Anyone with ranged attacks, hit him.
Excuse me, kind sir.
Oh my god, thank you so much.
I can't find my way.
Guard, please help.
We're lost and hurt.
My friend, he's in such terrible trouble.
Take my strong hand.
Sure. Okay.
Please.
The guard raises a horn to his lips.
Okay.
And he looks quite
away.
concerned.
We must act quickly now. Oh, we
All right.
charge him.
Quick thinking. What do you do now?
That was that cue again. Quick thinking. Instead of having that kind of quick thinking cue, there may be another way of handling this, which Esper generally does very well. So one of the things I'm going to point out here as we watch a little more of this game is, Esper, you have a good habit of communicating the exposition stuff in character through an NPC. It's way better to do that. I don't see that as often, and Esper, he's pretty consistent with it. So that quick thinking cue, how could you do that without saying, quick, give me what are you doing? Quick, I want it now. This is a time pressure. Well, the guard has already disappeared from the battle map here to rush and get other guard. He blew the alarm on the horn. I would have guards start pouring out of the rooms, weapons in hand. Like that would be like, whoa, we got to do something. We would like to do something quick.
We have to charge him,
Is
knock
there
him out,
somewhere-
get past him.
Can we hide in one of these?
Doors?
Okay, so players, I think what Esper was trying to get at here is there's no time. So, CJ, if your turn is to panic, look around for a place to hide, that's your turn. I would phrase that, or I would encourage you to phrase that in character. So, I look around quickly, a place to hide. And then Esper can say, there's nothing. Blank walls all around, small alcoves, too small. And he can communicate that in that same kind of rushed feel.
Doors.
If you all want to break up, I can put individual tokens down onto the map. Otherwise, if you want to stay together, just let me know where you're going and I'll move the party token somewhere.
I say we stay together, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so the entrance to the forum is how far in which direction again?
Okay. This isn't that kind of response that I think that you were going for. I think you were trying to go for, oh no, we've been seen. Oh no, let's get out of here. Oh no, like instead of remind me again where we are. No time for that.
East. It's the big area to the east.
Okay.
Which, to be fair, Esther, you said that not 15 minutes, not even 10 minutes ago. You communicated that to the players. Went through the whole thing. It actually took quite a bit of time to go through, and there was some technical difficulties, as there inevitably are when you're dealing with a VTT. Again, no, that's not a slight against you. It's just that's the nature of the beast. You have 5 people on a complicated Zoom call. Someone is going to have some issues with the tech. It's just going to happen. But you had already communicated this, so I wouldn't give any of that information. Just act like they should be doing something.
Well, we run that way. That's probably the best place we can lose any pursuit.
All right. So you have to decide this. You don't have to. I would recommend that if you're going to use a caller, so in the history of the hobby, given its pedigree, it wasn't uncommon, especially with troop play, to have a caller that would call out what the party would discuss what they wanted to do, and then the caller's job would be to communicate that to the referee or the game master, dungeon master, eventually when that appellation became popular. So if Adam is the caller, then everyone else has to know that. Otherwise, you're going to have a situation where Adam speaks on behalf of the party, and he does not get it right. So someone else is like, wait a second, don't move me. I'm going to do something else. And that has happened, or does happen in the session a little bit, between Bob and Adam.
Yeah, I guess we have to.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, so you run in the direction of the forum while there is a this ruckus, this alarm being raised.
So they're running. That sets the tone. So CJ, I hope you're getting this. Bob, I hope you get it. Adam, Michelle, everyone, you're running. You're running until when? You're running until you, as the player, describe your character as not running or doing something else or changing that tone. The tone is foot race, escape.
And this area ahead has a fair amount of ambient sound, as in the sound of commotion and bodies and people hawking goods and the voices and chatter, just the general ambience of a large enclosed area that is sort of the scale of maybe a village or something. You're coming next to a door to your right-hand side. Is this of any interest to you?
Esper, I don't think you need to cue that. Just mention the door. A door up ahead on the right. But I don't think you need to ask, do you want to do something with the door? It's up to the players to be proactive on that. Like, skid to a stop because remember, we're running here. We're running.
Or
Is
you
there a
proceed
sign on the
straight
door?
ahead to
Does
the
it say
forum.
anything?
Okay. If CJ, if you want to know if there's a sign on the door, you have to stop running, or you as I run by, I look for a sign.
Is there a sign on the door? Does it say anything? Does it
Exit?
say like office? Like
Or
Taco
like-
Das?
Long story. I have run in an office. It's actually, you can read signs when you're running by an office. It's true. But you don't have a lot of time. You just,
Treasure
Accounting.
room and fortified nap space.
This way to Taco Das's chambers.
it might help if you want that fast tone, Esper. It might help to have a turn order. Like, you didn't roll initiative. I'm not saying you have to have initiative necessarily, but it might be helpful, especially because you're trying to reinforce this foot race, trying to escape the guards that have now been warned, to have Emmett, then Henderson, then Hakeem. It doesn't really matter the order. You just want to have an order so that you don't have this situation like, how many turns am I taking? What? Because remember, they're running in the hallway.
This is Brianka's den.
Okay, that's the NPC. Again, Esper, you're fantastic at this. He gives answers through the world. Such a good thing. Fantastic. So that's the Crypt Keeper. He's been enthralled by vampire Emmett. That's Bob's character. And I love Esper's voices. Your voice work, incredible. Like, just really, really good. As someone who struggles with that, I'm not really good at adopting different affectations to have accents and stuff like that. It's a talent, and I don't have it yet. Esper does. He has it in spades. He is so good at this. In fact, he's going to do something later on that is it's super impressive.
Does Krilljack.
What's that?
What's a Brianka?
She is a renowned warrior, an orc woman.
Okay, I would reinforce here, Esper, they're running. So, and the Crypt Keeper is not an athlete. So I just because I know you can do this with your voice skills, I would have him panting and running. You're running away.
She has 2 demon arms magically grafted onto her body. She wields 4 blades.
Sounds like she is the life of every party, but I would not like to meet her right now. Move on.
Does she serve Dakodas?
Well, he is the lord of Scornhold. I'll serve him. Within her den, there's
She's sympathetic to him.
usually those that are.
Okay, so I would absolutely say they've ran past the door by now. So without me moving them even, I would say this has happened. There's no time. I'm also concerned. You've got Michelle at the bottom left. She's a really good player. She needs to have either, maybe she doesn't feel comfortable interrupting these guys, but if that's the case, because you're going to be gentlemen, you're going to ensure that she has time. Leave space, gentlemen, for her. Like, she isn't interacting as much as she could. And Michelle, don't be afraid. You're a fantastic role player. Just say what Dorothy's doing. I have a hard time with the name of your character, Dorothy, but whatever. That's not criticism.
Well, want of doing Brianka's bidding, and others who prefer it as their place of leisure.
I think I understand what you're saying now. But no, I don't think we should stay here.
So Bob is good. Like, that's an answer in character. So it's good. I mean, like, there's lots of good things in this session. But I think that the tone was lost. This was running down the hallway. I don't think that you have that kind of time.
I believe we
Okay.
should continue running.
Right? You're running. You don't have time. Like, how long is that hallway? I guess I don't really know the scale. So in your defense, Esper, I don't know the scale of that. Maybe that hallway was, I don't know, 300 feet or whatever it is. Each square is... No, that can't be the case. I don't think that's the case. So anyway.
Thank you.
All right, your characters
Maybe next
enter into
time.
the form, and you can't actually see the entire thing all at once because there's there's structures, stands, hovels, tents, slummy bivouacs, and just all kinds of stuff mounted up and set up. And there are a bunch of voices that filter into your ears of those that are milling about and going about their day-to-day affairs. And the most common tongue that is spoken around these parts is giant, but you will hear other.
Okay. Esper, your descriptions are good. You're talented at it. I would just limit it, not too much, right? Because if you talk too long, then the tone gets lost. They're running. They've run into this crowded marketplace, full of the sounds of giants or ogres speaking giant and other races milling about. It's cluttered. That's or something. I would do it. Don't describe it the way I just did. Obviously, you have a talent for it. I would just say that you want to limit those initial descriptions enough so that there's resolution, that they can interact with it, but not so long that the tone of running away is lost, or not so long that you invite. Well, first of all, you're not inviting this. This is more of an agreement that you share with your players that if you want to know things about your environments, you have to interact with it. You don't just ask me as a narrator in the sky out of character questions.
Accents and other tongues as well in the mix, and you see like a bugbear stroll by with a couple of orcs, and they're carrying this what do you call it?
I would have the world react to the fact that these 4 are running at 5 because you have the Crypt Keeper. They're running into this crowded marketplace. So have the world react to that is my suggestion.
Like a sort of like a pole sledge with some heavy affairs in it, and
Palanquin with like
that
people
might
in it.
that
or-
might be
or no?
overselling it. Let's just say pole
Okay.
sledge. There is some sort of vendor of like pots and stoneware and stuff who is a small, scaly kobold fellow, and he's like, yeah.
I do like how. Oh, and I paused it at a good place because he's gonna do a kobold language here. Just incredible stuff. What I do like, what I'm seeing here, just so you know, I'm not just some curmudgeon that hates everything. Everyone is in the game, like they're all really, they're here for the game, and you can tell that they love it, and they're not distracted. They're paying attention, and so I think that's good. There's again, I hope you keep putting these sorts of things up because there's lots of good stuff here.
Apping at some other kobolds, and like pointing and barking.
Okay, that's like just a throwaway thing he does, Esper. I'm talking to the people that may actually watch this, but that is incredibly hard to do. Just to make up a language like that. I don't know if you're just speaking, because I know you're bilingual, Esper. I don't know if you're, maybe doing a different, tweaking Portuguese or something. But to just as a throwaway have a kobold speaking something that sounds kind of like a kobold, that is so hard. That is incredibly difficult. Wow, like really good. Again, not that I think that you that are watching this that are like, I'm trying to up my game as a game master. You don't be intimidated by what Esper's doing. Esper's really good at that. That's his forte. He's just excellent. I don't do that. I don't think you have to do that. I just want to give him kudos for doing something that I know is really hard.
Orders, and there's this dog that goes by. It just looks like a mangy cur. So you can see some chunks of it, but just imagine like being in a marketplace or a slum. There are naturally.
But Esper, what you could do here, you could reinforce what the tone by having all of these populated characters that you're populating the forum and you're painting that picture for everyone. And notice that he's not bothering to put it up on the battle map. Great. So that this is on the players and everyone here that's participating in the game to just imagine it, pretend that that's where you are. But I keep coming back to this because I think that, it speaks to the pacing issue. It speaks to the tone. They're running into this space. That's going to draw some attention. And it might not be the attention that they want. Do you know what I mean? Like that could be so all of these creatures that you described could be turning, like shouting, like, slow down. Why are you running?
Going to be barriers that obstruct vision. Krilljack lets you know that the shrine is down there. He points. I guess it'd be down this.
That's a great way to kind of broadcast locations, is through an NPC that knows the place. Yeah, that place that you want to go to because you're cursed is right over there. But again, I would have Krilljack, this NPC, who's not a fighter. I'd have him wheezing for breath by now, like just winded or clutching at his heart. I don't know.
This way, southward.
Well, everyone, it seems like we could maybe blend in here, or we head to the shrine.
You can't be blended when you're running. No one else is running in this space. You're running in this space.
What are your thoughts?
Yes, let's move quickly through here. Unless there's some shopping that needs to be done.
But they're in character. Do you see that? They're in character. Love it.
Move us to delay.
I just wish they had remembered that they're running. Like that pacing. And you three players, Adam, Bob, CJ, be aware that you have another player there. And maybe this is where an informal turn order would be appropriate, just so that Michelle gets a chance to do her thing, because she's really good.
Anytime, at any place, for any amount of time, we're being pursued.
I'm not a huge fan of the voice that you're using, Adam. Let me tell you why. Again, it's not fair for me to give you advice. You decide how your character speaks. That's fine. It's just that I think that if you're, just as a general advice for anyone watching this, if you're going to do an accent, that's fine. It's your prerogative. But I would read the room. If you're the only one doing an accent, then you may want to tone it down. I'm not saying don't do it. Just tone it down. If people are looking at you like, I don't quite understand, and I can understand him. It's fine. It's not that he's incomprehensible because he's of his accent or his affectation that he's using with his voice. But if it's a jarring thing for the rest of the group, then just use some restraint. Is all I'm gonna say there.
Well, have you forgotten? If you have forgotten, I thought that was my job. I think.
He's having a rare day of mental acuity.
What is your party's demeanor as you are?
So, Esper, what I take that as is, aren't you still running? What's your demeanor? Aren't you still running? I don't think I think they kind of missed that you're running. You're running. That's the demeanor.
Moving into the forum here.
I would say pretend to blend in, like we're shopping, like, huh.
Yeah, but still move quickly.
You're all trying to be inconspicuous.
So there's not really time to plan this, right? You're running now. So again, this informal turn order might be a better option here. If Emmett doesn't say anything, or Bob, if Bob doesn't say anything, Emmett's running. That's what he said he was doing. He was running. And Krilljack is wheezing, his thrall wheezing alongside, struggling to keep up. And the Minotaur, Michelle, is outpacing everyone because of her long strides. And it's up to you as a player to move your characters around and decide on the demeanor. Like, what am I walking leisurely? Am I trying to blend into the crowd? Am I running away from the guards that we've just roused, who are blowing their horns and grabbing weapons and chasing after you?
Lewis?
Yeah.
Okay, everyone make a... Well, you can kind of choose. Deception checks and performance checks come to mind immediately.
Okay. This often comes up, regardless of system that you're using, where it's appropriate. Esper, I totally agree with your call here. This is a great place for some kind of skill check, whatever that is. There's a chance that a failure, the outcome could be interesting, whether it's a failure or a success. So it was great, but I don't know. Again, I'm trying to stay with this. This is a chase. We're being chased, so there's not a lot of time. Every player has to decide how their character would react to this, and then roll a check. And they could just tell you, I slow down, I pretend to look at some of the goods. I'll roll deception or stealth, or I'm gonna parkour my way through this. I'll roll athletics, or just have them. I would just say they can just decide that without an out of character negotiation. Or, well, you could do this, or you could do that. You pick. I would just let the players decide. Not that they don't get to decide if they roll a dice. You've called for a dice check, and I completely understand why you would, and I agree with it. Not that you need my approval. But I would be cautious about saying you could do it this way or that way. You could do it as deception. You could do it as stealth. You could do it as athletics. I would just have the expectation, communicate the expectation to the players that when I call for a check, then you will have to decide how, and you just describe what you're doing, and then roll the appropriate check with that. Now, these are experienced players, so this isn't a case of teaching people what would I roll. Like they all know. They've read the book. They understand their character sheets. They do a good job with that. Like they're not searching through, how do I do that? What do I add to this roll? What dice do I roll? They know, and as they should. And so they just make the check. Just say, I sneak in, or I vault over the vendor that's selling scalps or whatever. These are all monsters. Whatever it is, I roll athletics, and then there's an interesting outcome.
Well, because he's absurdly good at it, I think Hakeem might just be trying for stealth, just to maybe like blend in the sense of not actually have his face be seen. Like,
okay, so just tell us that, Adam. Just say that's what you're doing. That's great.
Go kind of keeping part of his cloak or robe up partially and like sticking.
That's what that kind of description is. What I'm talking about when I say just tell us what the rest of us see Hakeem doing. Just say that. And I prefer, just because it's a preference that has evolved over time. And I hesitate to bring this up because people feel strongly about this one way or the other. Third person versus first person. Because I'm so focused on in-character play, I definitely have a preference for first person over third person. So Adam, what I'm saying here is you would just say, speaking as Hakeem, you wouldn't have to use your voice thing here, of course. You because you're not speaking out loud. You're just describing what Hakeem does, but you're just saying it as I. I slow down and pull up my cloak, hiding my face. Next, and then the next person goes, and you roll, and you can roll, or you roll then, and Esper will do a good job. He'll say success, or he'll say failure, or he'll depending on what you guys have decided, he'll narrate the failure, or he'll narrate the success, or maybe you'll narrate the success, or you'll narrate the failure. But whatever you've decided on how you're going to handle that, you could just resolve it quickly like that by speaking in character, or just describing what you're. I'm kind of. I haven't lost my train of thought. I've just tried to describe this such that it's easy for people to get the picture. Just describe what everyone else sees you doing. Let's keep going. You can see, though, this is a good session.
To shadows of stall awnings. I don't know whether it be awnings when it's indoors, but, you know.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you are going about it slowly and carefully and trying to keep yourself...
Don't have to re-narrate it. He did a great job. Everyone heard, because everyone's paying attention, right? CJ, Bob, Michelle, everyone's paying attention to what just happened there.
Out of plain view.
Okay. I think stealth is probably best, too, for me.
Ooh, nice ambience.
I like having, me personally, I like having background music when we're playing that's suitable for what, it helps me kind of keep in character. I like it. But nothing ruins the ambiance type, that what you're trying to do with it, than saying it out of character. Like, oh, I like this. Oh, I remember the song. Or, yeah, this is from that soundtrack. It's in the background. Just let it stay in the background.
I mean, stealth
Don't forget your
is
disadvantage.
preferred. Oh, nice, yeah. Stealth is preferred for me, but also I'm a large minotaur, so should I just do deception?
Okay, Michelle, I've heaped accolades on you. I really do think you are an excellent role player. But this is asking Esper, should I do this or should I do that? Not allowed. In my games, not allowed. You just make the choice that Dorothy, I'm going to have a hard time with that. You just make the choice that your character would choose as you imagine the character, and then just do it.
I mean, there's a lot of things here, weird things. There's orcs and stuff. I mean, you could probably blend here.
Okay, Bob. The only way you could really, in my mind, the only way that is allowed, what you've just done there, is if what Michelle said was in character and she said it out loud. She wasn't just musing, because it sounded a little bit like a player just saying, well, I'm not sure. What do you think I should do here? And I'm saying, no, don't come out of character. Just be in character. And if you're not sure, or the character's not sure what to do, then the character says out loud to Emmett's character, and then Emmett's character responds in kind. But again, as far as I'm aware, Michelle is still running. She hasn't changed that. A minotaur, a large creature, is barreling into a crowded marketplace at a full run. She's going full tilt. I think she's probably faster than the rest of you too.
That's true.
You are
Not a
definitely not the
problem.
only large-sized creature here, and there are structures made for large-sized creatures. In
Nice.
fact, ogre is probably the most common type of creature in this citadel.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Okay, cool. You guys were right. Dorothy blends right in.
I would prefer, Michelle, because I know you can do this because you do it so well in other turns, that you describe what Dorothy does. Just describe what everyone else sees. Like I slow down, standing right next to some ogres exactly my size. Blend and roll your stealth, and you rolled super high, and success.
How do I grab my character sheet if I don't have a token?
All right, so I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because this is what we see this a lot. I see this a lot in in online games using a VTT. It comes up a lot. How do I do this? It's not really working for me. What is that again? It does slow things down. And again, this is a chase. It's a chase scene. So it's hard to, and there's always trade-offs, right? The trade-off with the VTT is that, here, we got a dice roller here. Everyone can see the rolls. That's kind of nice. We have line of sight. You can see the map, I guess. That's a good thing in some cases. I don't think it's necessary, but still, and some will argue that that's a bonus. It's worth the trade-offs. But here we're going to see the trade-off. The trade-off is someone's going to have to play tech support.
Somewhere
You can just go to actors and then click characters.
Okay, so I'm just going to skip ahead a little bit. They put out their characters. There's the Minotaur. All right, so they're all right there. Let's just skip ahead. Skip ahead here. Let's start here. See how it is. Oh yeah.
Yes.
I gotta rewind because you gotta. Esper, you're so good
he's
at
got like
this.
this belt and
He's a like scorpion
like
creature here.
a crossbow and some spears. He looks like some kind of warrior thing, and he just glares at you.
That's hard to do. Again, you're really good at that. It's great. I don't think everyone out here has to imitate that. It's just that, I mean, it's kind of cool to see someone that's really like they're showcasing their talent, and that happens to be Esper's talent. So.
Yes, I
One of many. I'm not trying to say, well, this is the only thing he's good at. He does a lot of things well, I'm sure.
I see what you're saying, but we do. I must be going. I can't. I'm not interested right now. That's really okay.
Good job, CJ.
I've had enough of that.
In
It's
character.
okay. We have to go. I'm
job.
with my friends or companions. I don't know if we're friends yet. We have to get. out of
You
here.
mumble and make your sort of apology, and the scorpion man essentially just glares at you, but otherwise does not seem to want to escalate things. And you all go into an area of a different sort. There's like a connecting smaller corridor. This door to the west, that's going to be leading to Bryanka's den. To the east, Krilljack says, I am not familiar. I believe it is a section that has come into ruin.
The kind of ruin where one could get lost.
Well, I cannot speak to it, for I have not personally gone that way.
That could be where we shake any pursuit.
So apparently there's, to the east, there's some other section that's in a ruined state. You come down a small set of stairs, and then there's the...
I would prefer that the players say where they're moving. Like, certainly Esper, ahead, the hallway descends, stairs.
this draping, curtain-like...
Just a draping curtain. It's good. It's good. I would take away the equivocations. What I mean by that is, this is hard to do once, because we all get into this habit. It's kind of like this. It's sort of like that. It seems like this. And I can understand the reason behind that, which is I don't want to give you this certainty in case something has the appearance of it, but isn't that thing. But I do think that it's overused. Becomes a bit of a verbal tick.
A doorway or partition that then leads into the shrine area. What can I tell you?
That's quite some background noise for a shrine.
I would say, Adam, please don't comment on that. It's not supposed to be the focus.
The shrine has has sort of a rectangular shape to it, though a rounded wall at the far end, a high ceiling. There, at the far end of the shrine, is a statue, a rather big statue, about 10 feet tall. And the statue is of an aggressive-looking giant with 6 arms that end in clawed hands, and his head is like that of a lion, and he has these long fangs bared, and his mane is flames.
Cool.
There is a ritual taking place here with some 24 participants. The priest looks to be an ogre.
See what I mean by like looks to be? An ogre in priestly garb. Good enough.
And he is going through the various
Is he actually an ogre? I don't know. You have to interact. And then maybe.
phrasings and orisons. And it looks like on the altar they have already slaughtered some animals in ritual sacrifice.
Look at that. They're just letting all the blood go away.
I thought that description was solid. And you notice it wasn't even that long. It was good. Really good.
Yes. Like a
Wait.
waste.
There are many sacrifices of beasts on this day of celebrations.
That's Esper talking as the NPC. Clear?
It's best if you didn't. Oh.
He says, before he can say, look, I assume Durathi has already seen this, but he says, perhaps it's best if you didn't look, but then, oh.
Durathi, as you look over, you realize Durathi's just like fuming, like there's fire in her eyes. She says, murderers.
Everybody.
That's good. I mean, this is good. I'm glad that this was suggested to me as a session to watch, because there's a lot of good stuff here.
Everybody's got to eat, don't they? Like, you're right. These are being sacrificed, just thrown away. All the blood dripping down.
There's perfectly good grass to eat.
The flesh is shared between.
What I like so much about how Michelle's role playing here is that she has that touchback to the fact that she's not human. She's a minotaur. So of course she's thinking, well, you just eat grass. What's wrong with you? I like that. So often when we play these games and someone's playing a non-human race, what they really are just playing is a human. They're just playing a human. It's always just a human. It's hard to do this. And that's why I think that we've found Michelle as a good role player, because she's constantly thinking of the fact that she's not human. She's a large herbivore. Just fantastic. That's so cool.
Mortal and God.
Would animals' blood heal us?
Don't ask. Okay, Bob, if you're asking that question, if I was your game master, I would assume you say that out loud.
Yeah, it should, right?
Whenever you deal your necrotic damage from...
A rules clarification. Just the way I'm not a no rules guy. Okay, the rules are important, but if there's something like this that comes up, I would, unless they actually interact with the blood, like, oh, we're gonna, this will heal us, and so they go and try it. Until they try it, I wouldn't clarify anything until they've actually tried it. And if it's something like, oh, my character would know this, then we can clarify that at the end of the session. So yeah, well, no, the way the rule is written, this class is it's a beating heart. It's something you're draining the life from it while its heart is still beating. So if that's really important to communicate, but I would communicate that after the session's over.
Your bite to a living creature that has blood.
Oh, living.
You gain hit points equal to necrotic damage that you deal.
That said, it was quick. I mean, it's the way I would do it, but Esper, you're quick at it, so maybe it's fine.
Spilled blood would not be good.
That's true. Yeah, anything that's like its heart has stopped beating that doesn't kill you.
Well, there's no point in crying over spilled blood.
Nievra, nie, korwa, kręta eras, hunda eras, hunda eras, lunzar eras, lunzar eras.
Do we know what language that
You
is?
see the
Adam, it's just because I was so impressed with the fact that he's doing this. He's inventing this how giant sounds. Esper, you're inventing that on the spot, I imagine. And he's doing it with just slight variations, so you can hear that chant, and it's a repeating chant. And Adam, for you to just come and say, "Hey, do I know what language that is?" Esper had already said they speak giant here. This is an ogre. For as all you know, it could be speaking ogre. Like, anyway, I just thought that was really cool. It's so hard to do that. And
fervor of the ritual pitch up. None seem to be paying much attention to you, as everyone, priests included, are all facing the direction of the altar and that great stone statue of the six-armed monstrous giant thing.
Do we know what language they're chanting in?
Giant.
Oh, okay.
Anybody speak that?
I don't believe so. I know
You all are actually quite outsiders here. Maybe Dorothy isn't, but in this region of the world, something like a human or a dwarf, you're a foreigner, an outsider, an outlander. There are minotaurs native to this realm, though.
I have nobility where I come from. No, I do not remember where that is. I'm working on it.
It is okay, little calf. And Dorothy ruffles Hakim's hair.
See what I mean? Michelle, that's fantastic. She calls not a child, it's a calf. Oh, little calf. I think that's fantastic. Really good. We should probably cut. They're going to go into combat. It's not quite as interesting, but there's some interesting things that happen. We'll just watch for a little bit.
Is there
A what?
Calf? Baby. You are like a little baby. Grumpy
Just
little
my
baby.
feet that are sore. My calves are fine.
Good. Pun.
Okay, little one.
Michelle, good for you. Staying in character like that. Man, that's good.
Is that like ruffling his hair under the large sort of turban hat?
Adam, I wouldn't try to retcon it. I would just say I straighten up my turban. You know, it's been knocked out. Just do that.
Oh yeah, he's wearing a hat.
Ensemble.
Oh, okay. She's just patting the top of his turban then.
He readjusts it, and like more little cobwebs fall out, and probably blood. Oh, actually, it might be dry by now. He might be like all brown and crusty at this point.
It's totally dry by now, yeah.
Everyone make a perception check. Don't forget your disadvantage.
Oh no.
Oh right, we're all exhausted.
Hey now, look at that.
Ooh,
21.
17.
14.
Emmett and
I got a
Dorothy
rock.
have succeeded. So you're just inside this curtain-like partition in the shrine. You're basically like the back area of the shrine. But you can hear a sound of armored boots not too far off. It sounds like they are getting close to that intersection just to the north of where you are. Someone's coming. Multiple.
Jack.
Jack, you hear that like the familiar clink of scale armor.
Jack, they're coming for us. We gotta keep moving.
The alarm was sounded.
Help us.
You are being sought out.
Yes, but who can help us with our issue of turning into statues? Is there a priest here that can heal us?
Well, that is the priest there. He points up to the ogre priest at the lead, who is actually calling up an ogre who's bringing this goat.
Of course, Esper, you can just do a perfect goat bleat just on demand. And Esper, I really do hope whatever you end up doing with your YouTube channel, I hope that you'll keep posting games. while I did have a few things that I would suggest that you try, I really enjoyed this session overall. It was good. It's really good. So what were those things? Just to recap real quick. When you want to change a pacing, then I would try to use the world to reinforce that pacing. It might make more sense to have that understanding that when I say quick thinking, everyone quickly in order or whatever, just one after the other, what are you doing? Say what you do quickly. I don't think with the descriptions that you have, I don't think you need to have the sort of kind of similar to, I mean, it's similar to it. Maybe that's fine, but you can cut some of that out. But really solid, a really solid showing. Yeah. And some great in-character play from the players. Really good. There's a little bit, like you can see when they're in character, it flows. The game flows so much better. They're more in the area. They're more in that. It's when we pull out and we have a bunch of out of character questions, then you start to slow down. You lose that connection with the world, the fictional world, and it becomes a little more jarring. But overall, lots that we can learn from this, and solid game, some great role playing, especially from Michelle playing a Minotaur and really leaning into that. She's not human. She doesn't behave like a human behaves. She doesn't have the same biases as a human. Her vernacular, her idiomatic expressions are different. They're all bovine oriented, which is really good. So this has been Unsolicited Advice. I've got a bunch more of these coming. I appreciate those of you that are going to watch this, and hopefully you've picked something up from either Esper or some of his players here who've done a decent job, really. I had a few quibbles here and there just because I'm always looking for ways to improve, and this was a fun one. That's it for me, and I will catch you on the next one. Don't know when that'll be. We've got working on a number of these, but working on them just means I have to watch them and watch them and watch them. It just takes some time. I will catch you all later. Thanks for watching. This is Table Runner Crispy signing off.